Welcome to Unharnessed. We're the team behind New Start Standardbreds, and each episode we'll be sharing program updates, talking Standardbreds and aftercare, and discussing the topics that matter to our community. Thanks for joining us. Let's get into it.
Hey guys, it's Kimberly, and we are back with another episode of Unharnessed. So this one we are going on a little bit of a field trip. So I'm going to take you with me because this time we are going to talk about racing equipment and some of the myths, some of the things that people think are true that actually aren't. And I'm going to give you a little bit of look of what those things actually do and how they are not near as scary as people think they are. So let's get going and enjoy this episode. We're here and we are at the races, and we are going to do a little bit of debunking about some of these pieces of equipment that some people think are maybe a little controversial. This is Emily. She is our new treasurer, and she actually came with me a couple weeks ago and got a chance to learn about some of these pieces of equipment, didn't you? Yeah. So she had some questions and that got answered, and we are going to talk about a few of them and see how it goes. So stay tuned, and we'll look at them throughout the night. It's now the next day, and we failed at taking too much video last night. This is why we are not professionals and we are not good at it. So I'm going to show some pictures that were taken, or ones that I've seen, some video, just for some background, and I'm going to do some voiceover talking about some of these pieces of equipment that you typically see on a standardbred racehorse and what it's actually for, as opposed to what maybe the internet tries to convince you it's there to do, which is to be cruel, and it's not. Because I believe education is key, and there'll be a lot of people that watch this and they're like, it's still cruel. And I mean, that's unfortunate for you, that you feel that actually educating yourself is something that you don't want to do, and you just want to believe what you want to believe. There are cruel things in any sport, especially when it involves animals. And anything can be cruel in the wrong hands. A very simple snaffle bit can be cruel in harsh hands. But they're tools, and when they're used correctly, it's for the safety of the animal, it's for the safety of the people, and it's to help those animals have the best opportunity that they can to be successful. The same way that we use tools in our everyday lives to make ourselves successful in the things that we do. So it's something that I see a lot of online, we hear a lot of, and it's unfortunate because one thing that we want to do is we want to strengthen the partnership between the industry and aftercare. And so I think educating the general public who may not get to see the background and the day-to-day of what goes into these horses and what those tools are really used for, it's a great piece. So like I said, it'll probably be a little controversial. Some of you will not believe me, and I'm probably not going to explain some of it super great. I haven't put my hands on a racehorse in probably 14 years. So what I know is what I learned from people that I know now, and just what I know from my knowledge from back then. But we have a great team around us that is extremely highly educated in all of these tools. And so I really hope that you will listen to a lot of this, and maybe it'll change your perspective. And I highly recommend, if you get the opportunity, go out to a racetrack, watch the races, and you'll get a chance to see those tools in action, and that they're not so big and scary like the internet wants you to believe. So without further ado, let's meet some of these scary pieces of equipment, and let's see if we can debunk some of those myths.
The first piece of equipment that we're going to look at is the choke plate, which sounds terrifying, but it's actually not. It's used on horses that have a tendency to pull their head down and towards their chest when they're racing, and it's made to prevent them from cutting off their airway so that they can continue to breathe properly while racing. While it can look a little daunting in a still image, when you know the reason behind it, it actually makes quite a bit of sense. The next piece of equipment that we are looking at is the Murphy blind, which is essentially a one-sided blinker. It's used for a horse that tends to drift on one side or look out one side, and that needs a little bit of coverage to keep their mind on their task. And yes, the scary part is that it is attached with little metal wires, but those are made so that it can be completely adjustable to put it exactly where it's needed for each particular horse. Now, I know this next one is definitely one that you see a lot about that's quite controversial, and that is the tongue tie. And yes, it is made to do exactly what it's called. It holds the tongue in position. It is an important piece of safety equipment because it is made to keep the tongue from sliding over the bit or backwards and a horse swallowing its tongue, which is very dangerous and definitely can happen. A proper tongue tie is not tied extremely tightly. It's made to comfortably have the tongue sit. Now, you will have some horses that like to stick their tongue out, but I haven't met too many people that tie their tongues out on purpose. That's usually horse specific. The tongue tie is the very last piece of equipment that goes on right before a horse goes out on a track to race, and it is the very first piece of equipment that people pull off as soon as they come off the track. Why? Because nobody wants to tie their tongue down any longer than they need to. It's strictly safety only, and that's why it exists. I thought this next piece of equipment was pretty standard and pretty obvious, but you would be surprised how many people get uptight about it, and that is earplugs. Our standardbreds are used to a lot of things, but their adrenaline is going. These are athletes, and racetracks can be loud, crowds can be unpredictable, and anything can happen. This is how you keep them calm and keep a horse from getting stressed out. As we know, horses' hearing is so much better than ours, and so it doesn't take a whole lot for them to hear things a lot louder and a lot better. This helps keep them calm and focused, and they're made to pull out when it is time for that horse to hear everything and get going. I was just going to do a plain shadow roll, and then I realized that that was pretty straightforward, so we one-upped, and we went with the shadow roll that has a little extra binding. Now, if it's not plainly obvious, which apparently it's not sometimes out there in the world, these spikes that look so scary that are sticking up, they're zip ties. They're just zip ties. They flip, they flop. They are simply made to give a little extra distraction to a horse that may be looking for a shadow. And let me tell you, you do not want a horse going full race speed to decide to jump a shadow. It is not going to go well, and someone is going to get seriously hurt. So, a little extra distraction to keep their mind focused, it's not so bad, especially when it's just a zip tie. These are probably the most controversial piece of equipment that we're going to talk about, and that is the head pole. They are used to keep a horse's head straight when they tend to tip it off to one side or the other. Now, there's a lot of different designs of head poles. There's small burrs, there's double burrs, there's metal burrs, there's all kinds of things. The one thing is that these are not stabby spikes that people believe they are. They do look scary. They look like they belong probably in a castle. However, you can grab it by hand and it is not going to hurt. They are not made to cause damage. Have you ever seen a lot of standardbreds with their necks ripped apart from these? No, you probably haven't. And that's because that's not what they're made to do. They are made to help keep a horse fairly straight when they are racing, because horses that are dipping off to one side are not safely steering. And again, safety. It comes down to safety. That is why equipment exists. I will be totally honest, this one makes me giggle, and this is hobbles. So many people believe that the hobbles force these horses to pace. That's not true. They are there to help guide the gait so that a horse can successfully lean into them when they're tired, when they need that extra support to stay on stride. And just so you know, trotters can wear hobbles too. It's not just the pacers. They're there to help guide the gait the horse is already doing. They're not there to force it. I could go on forever, but I'm going to touch on one more piece of equipment, and that is the overcheck or head check. It is there to help a horse from getting their head too low between their knees, help them be able to carry themselves in a position that is safest for racing at the speeds that they are. Now, again, there's a ton of different types of equipment, so I'm just going to do a general overview. There is the mini bit, which essentially is a second bit that goes in their mouth that is attached to the head check. And then there is a chin strap, which goes under the jaw instead. And because I saw something going around online, I thought I would also throw the Z guide in here as well. Now, I don't know a whole lot about this in terms of I've never used one. However, it's also not near as scary as it looks. It is a pressure and release system. So many people believe that this thing is clamping down on a horse's face and causing pain and terrible things. It's not. Pressure and release is something that a lot of us are learned how to train horses under saddle. So this piece of equipment is doing the exact same thing. As long as the horse is carrying their head where they should, there is no pressure from this. The only time there is pressure is if they put their head where they shouldn't. Now, I know this isn't super in depth. We haven't looked at a whole lot of things. We haven't really shown you too much, but I felt this was really important to bring because I'm hoping that this will start the conversation of maybe ask some questions instead of just assuming what you see in a snippet, in a picture, because there's probably a reason behind everything that you see. So just ask. Maybe start there instead of assuming.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed this episode of Unharnessed. I know it's a little bit unhinged. I've got no tripod. It's not super professional, but I felt it was really important to bring this piece to you. And this is a topic conversation and one that I really wanted to make sure that I got out there. I wish I had gotten the opportunity to us to remember to have a little bit more to chat with Emily, who is one of our adopters and one of our new board members. And she had been to the races a few times, but she had never actually gotten to see kind of the behind the scenes. And I've had a chance now to take her with me twice. And she gets to see that a lot of this stuff, the reason for it, why it's there, for safety as well as to help the horses to be able to do the best that they can do. Because it's like anything, like I said, you need a tool to be successful in a lot of things in life, even us on the day-to-day. And those pieces of equipment are tools for those horses to do exactly just like that. So she had some eye-opening experiences. She had lots of questions, and I wish I had remembered that I wanted to do this piece so that we could have maybe done some more video of that. But hopefully this will suffice. And probably we will come back to this conversation a few times because I know it's going to take a lot to change some people's minds or bring a little bit more education. But for now, I hope you are enjoying your August. I know that it is half over and school is starting back soon and all of those things. And I hope you're continuing to follow along with everything that we do. So please like, share, all of those things to help us gain money on Facebook. And I hope you will watch the next episode of Unharnessed. So until then, we will see you next time.